All right, today we're gonna do a little outside project. I've got some stuff. We're still kind of waiting on parts for the applicator. I've got some stuff, but we got some stuff that's out being made and or waiting to show up. So and today's supposed to be too nice of a day to be working in the shop. It's supposed to get up into the mid to upper 40s, and the way they make it sound, this overcast just sounds like it might clear off by the afternoon, and we might actually see a little bit of sun. So, and tomorrow's supposed to be really nice. It's supposed to make it to damn near 50, and it's supposed to be sunny all day. But which tomorrow would probably actually be, if you had to choose one, because it wouldn't be overcast, probably tomorrow would be the better day for it. But I'm gonna do a little burn. Oh, I came in here to get this started first. I want to get a little brush burning done today, and I'd rather start it today than tomorrow. That way I have tomorrow to stir up piles without having to worry about going to work. Actually, piles, just a pile. Hold on a second here. All right, so anyway, I would like to get this little triangle patch of trees taken out today. I don't think it's gonna be too hard. The ground up here is pretty loamy and soft, and nothing here is overly big, but I want to get these taken out so that we're that much closer to starting to work on the chicken coop project. I think I might leave one. I just got to pick out which one I want to leave as a shade tree for now. I think the only one that might put up a fight, I think that's a cherry, maybe. I think that one's kind of big, but the rest of them really aren't overly huge. A bigger machine would make it easier, but we don't have one. For the few that are here, I think that we can make do with the mini. It'll just take a little bit of digging. But that one's dead. The top's blown out of it. We might... This guy right here in the center, that one might stay because that's got some nice branches to it. That'd make a nice little shade tree that way. I figure if we leave the shade tree, A, it'll give them shade, and B, won't really have to worry about putting a roof over the chicken run if there's a tree over them. Which, the chicken coop that's at Shelly's mom's right now doesn't have anything over it, and nothing's ever bothered them. So, is that a hunk of... No, that's a tree stump. Is that a tree stump? Or is that a... Yeah, that's a tree stump. I was gonna say, is there a hunk of concrete in there? So we'll start off by scrubbing out all the little stuff underneath. There's a fence still running, and you can see that fence post. There's a piece wadded up in there that I couldn't get pulled out. Seems like I tried yanking on it with the cub at one point and it wouldn't move, and then I just kind of gave up on it and forgot about it. But there's still a cattle panel fence that runs over here to the corner. That's the only thing I know of. And I'm also going to yank this thing out because I've been meaning to every time I had the excavator here. And I always forget. Fence insulator. The ground's a little crusty. It actually frosted this morning for once. We haven't had a frost since all that snow started melting. Yeah, I'm gonna break that blade. And before I do, I think I'm gonna put the burn pile right here. And before I get too carried away up there, there's a bunch of dead stuff. I guess there's not nearly as much as I thought there was, but there's some dead stuff laying in here, plus the dead stuff laying in there. We'll get all the dead stuff thrown on the bottom, so I got something to get the fire started. And then once it's going, I don't think we'll have any issue getting that green stuff. But there's really only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 decent sized trees in there, and one of them staying. The rest of them are all just nasty scrubby. So do I leave? So I wish I was better at identifying trees. Do I leave this guy? Because I think that might be a maple. I think. What do them leaves look like? Yeah, I think that guy's a maple, so that's actually a decent tree. Or, and I think that one's actually a maple too. You know, that one, if I leave that one, won't have anything hanging over the roof. That will. So we'll leave the, yeah, we'll stick with leaving that one. That way there's nothing over the roof of the shed. And then once we get all that scrubbed out, we can think about stripping the tin off this and fixing the rafters that need fixing, and then I will get some we can screw that back down with some actual barn tin screws, and then it shouldn't pop out again. Because that's the problem with this, and that's the problem with the corn crib. The roof nailed down and the nails are coming out. Luckily on that, there's actually still cedar shakes underneath the tin, so even though the tin's getting loose, the roof still don't leak because the cedar shakes are still decent. But anyway, I'm gonna go get my saw and stuff out here while that's warming up, and then we'll get to getting. Okay, I figure we'd start off by scrubbing out all the small stuff so we don't gotta work around it or through it. Before I started cleaning this up, this whole area here, all the way across the back, all the way back across there where I got the grain heads and stuff parked now, was all this all sage orange crap like this. My God, was that miserable. When I bought this place, we didn't have this thing yet, so this wasn't even an option. pumped up for the grapple yet. Anything we did, you had to use the bucket and stack it full by hand. They're still not where I'd like them to be. I'd like to have a dozer, but we've come a long way in the last like 4 or 5 years. Okay, how attached do you think this big dead trunk is? It doesn't go up that high. It's only probably 12 foot. The top blew out of it a long time ago. Dirt back here is so sandy. It's like digging on a beach. Okay, you gonna go the way I want you to? Say no, because I'm difficult. throw it on the fire and let it burn out. Be a whole lot easier trying to cut it out of that. I pulled so much fence out of this place, it ain't funny. There was fence everywhere. And none of the paddocks were big enough to like do anything with, and there was no rhyme or reason. Nothing was square. It was a bunch of weird shape. It was, you'd have had to seen it to understand just how messed up it was. Another 30 or so feet that runs out the other way. It's just going to be a matter of finding it. I know where the one end is. And just like that, the very next thing I go to pick up, I find the fence. Well, it's looking better already. Almost gonna need the, once I get enough stuff, once I get it cleared off to where it's cleared off, I have to bring the landscape rake over, put it behind the Super 55, and run over it with a landscape rake and get all the crap raked up. And that big stump I dug out of here, I ended up lobbing the log off and pushing the stump over there because A, there ain't no way in hell it's gonna burn, not for a while anyhow, and B, I couldn't move it. Well, obviously I could move it, I couldn't pick it up. I had to get it situated where I could get under a corner with the blade, and I pulled it and rolled it up on the blade and picked up on it with the boom and literally carried it with the blade and the boom. Threw it over there and got it turned up where the rain can work on washing the dirt off, and let the critters eat at it for a while, and eventually when we start the next phase of clearing, that can go on a burn pile. But I think I got enough of a pile started here that I'm confident enough that we can get that lit, and then I can just start adding to it. So let me get some flammable material around. All right, I got my stuff in there. Note to self, next time start building the pile, put your stuff in, and then start stacking the pile on top of it, because with the excavator you can stack this thing tight enough that you can't, there's no holes in it to stuff anything in, so I'll let that get a little bit of a head of steam going, and then I can just take the excavator and shove the pile kind of over on top of it a little bit. It ought to burn though. That even when it's green, that Osage orange burns pretty good, and there's plenty of that in there, plus all the dead stuff I threw in. So Lily, get out of there. So we'll give that a minute and hopefully it takes off. Well, sometimes you get lucky. That took off burning a lot better than I expected it to, and it's burning pretty hot. Like, I didn't mess with it at all. I just lit it and walked away from it, and it's eating itself into the pile and doing its thing. But there is a lot more scrubby, brushy crap in here than I thought. I'm not even done scrubbing it out yet. I'm almost done, but not quite done. But that's all. There's that. The only big stuff in there is the dead tree that was laying on the ground and that dead tree trunk. Everything else is all that Osage orange and the scrubby bushes, and there's no trees in there yet. That's just all scrub brush. So I gotta finish scrubbing out this corner here and finish scrubbing out that corner there, and then we can try to take out some trees. I guess I should get my, since that's only being held by one wire, I guess I can go get my wire cutters and nip that. Oh, is that grown into that tree? Not that it matters. I ain't gonna cut the, oh no, it's still hooked to this fence post. And it might be grown into that tree. Yep, it's, oh, that's neat. Well, I'm gonna go get my wire cutters real quick and cut that hunk off and get it out of the way so I'm not hooking it. And that last section's gonna be fun because it's all tangled up. It's right there. This is why you, not that it matters here because it's been such a long time since there's been any critters, but this is why you maintain your fences, people. Lordy. Looks a little different than it did at 9 o'clock this morning, huh? God, that was a lot of brush. I did not expect it to take that long to get all the small shit. Every time you turn around there was more. It just, that was a lot. But now we can, and naturally the wind's blowing the wrong direction, so it's blowing smoke right back up here where I'm working, but oh well, what can you do about it? I'd rather have it blowing this way than towards the buildings. It's not even really windy, it's just, there's a really slight breeze. But now we can start on some trees. We'll get these small guys out of here first. I think that one's gonna be a problem. I think that big cherry is gonna be a problem. I don't even know what kind of tree that is. But we'll get what we can get. I might not bother screwing with that one or that one, just so I don't break the roots up and hurt them. These I don't think are going to be too hard to do, just with a little bit of digging, because they're already hard leaners. My fear is if I take these out, if I hurt the roots from that tree. That one's dead. It's been dropping stuff on top of the barn, so that shouldn't be too hard. And that guy's not overly big, so that one shouldn't be too hard. So I may end up with 4 left. We'll see how it turns out. It'll be better than better and easier to manage as far as fencing around than what we started out with anyhow, that's for sure. says you need a 40,000 pound excavator to knock down trees? You don't need nothing that big. You just need a little excavator and a big hole. Although this one was frustrating me. Could not get it. I was trying to push it that way toward the pile so I didn't have to track as far moving stuff. Could not get it to go, could not get it to go, could not get it to go. Looked up. It was all tangled up in that limb right there. So I was like, okay. Walked around the other side. Just like tapped it and it, boom. So I'm gonna get this one lobbed up, thrown on the pile. I'm gonna get this one here on the corner, and then if I got enough daylight, I'm gonna work on this double, and then that one and those two are gonna stay for the time being, because that one obviously I want for a shade tree. And those two, if I dug a big enough hole, I can get them toppled over, but I do not have enough machine to move them stumps, because I'm having trouble just moving these 16-inch, whatever, however big these trees are, stumps. So, which that one right there is going to be a chore, because I think that's the biggest one yet, but we'll get her. I've just been throwing them down there in the woods so they can rot for a while. Okay, let's try this again. I've tried to end this video up here twice already, but it shut me down twice because the battery's low enough and it's cold enough that it shut down because of a cold battery. But we'll walk out here so you can see better, but it looks 10 times better than what it started out this morning. Everything I do around here makes it look just that much better. You'd probably tell better in the daylight, but, well, in the daylight you wouldn't be able to see the daylight through the trees. But it was starting to get dark on me when I finished up. Figured it was time to stop feeding the pile, since it's going to be sitting there overnight. Last tree I want to get taken out is this double right here, but it could be a little interesting because this one's leaning towards the power lines and I think it's tall enough to touch them. So that one might be a 2-machine job. We might need to throw a cable around it and pull that way while I push to try to swing it around so that it doesn't hit the power lines, because that would be bad. So that might be a project when I can get Dad over here for an hour or so to help me out. And if nothing else, I can haul that one down to the other burn pile in the hollow down there, which needs to get lit off and gotten rid of this winter too, so that it's done and gone, because that'll be the last time I need to burn that one. So everybody I keep getting people asking me, you gonna put your bins up? You gonna put your bins up? Well, the bins are gonna go right there in that thicket of pine trees, and this little corner here is just a small sampling of the amount of work it's gonna take to get this ground fit to put grain bins up. So, and that's going to require a machine that's a lot more of a machine than that little guy. So if somebody wants to drop me off like a 320 cat for a few months to play with, we might be able to start working on it. But until somebody's willing to do that for me, we're going to have to wait and take that one a piece at a time. Because honestly, after doing this little corner, I think, because I'm going to have to rent a machine to do it, because to pay somebody to do that's going to cost an arm and a leg. And after doing this little corner, I think the most cost-effective way to do it would be to take this one and go through and scrub out all the small undergrowth, brushy, nasty crap that takes all that's the time-consuming part, which that one's perfectly capable of handling, working around the big trees and stuff, so that it looks like this. And then that way, when you do get a big machine here, you're not wasting time dicking around with all the small stuff, and all you got to worry about is the big stuff, and you can hog out all the big trees, which, if you have a big enough machine, won't take nearly as long as with that, because you wouldn't, in theory, you don't have to do as much digging. So that would probably be the most cost-effective way to approach it, is small stuff with this, get it cleared out, and then bring a big machine in and do the big stuff. But that section right there will be the next stage, is to get that cleared off. And then once that's cleared off, finish going to the other side of the property. But a 1/4 acre at a time. Actually, this wasn't even a 1/4 acre, it might be 1/8 of an acre. So anyhow, we're gonna go to dinner and a movie tonight, so it's about time for me to get in and get cleaned up anyhow. But when we get back, we'll probably be back about 11:30 midnight by the time it's all said and done, and I'll leave the Mini out, and I'll stir that up, or pile that up one more time before we go to bed tonight. And there probably won't be a whole lot left of it by morning, because it's hotter than the depths of hell in there. I can't believe that thing took off and went on its own, completely unassisted like that. That was pretty sweet. So anyhow, that made for one pretty sunset, though. I'm glad I decided to work on this today rather than spending time in the shop, because it was a really nice day. I think I would really be half tempted, if I didn't have other stuff going on and it wasn't that important, to start working my way around the back side and getting all the small stuff and just start working my way that way. But we got more important projects to work on, so I'll just stir this thing up in the morning, and tomorrow we'll go back to working on the applicator. So, and we get that last tree taken out there, and we'll be ready to start planning around doing some fencing and getting the roof fixed on that shed. And Shelly's kind of been keeping an eye out for some nice old metal nesting boxes that we can hopefully figure out a way to mount in there, and see what we can do about turning it into a chicken coop. So anyhow, with that being said, I think that's it for this one, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. That is a beautiful sunset for February, I tell you what.